Good evening, my lovelies, and welcome to Cryptic Tips. My name is Lady Victoria Gray, and I'll be your narrator this haunting evening. Tonight's scary story is called Don't Follow into the Shadows, an original creepypasta written by Constance Goodrich. The clock turned 12 as Anna was awoken by a strange dragging sound in her hallway. Fear filled her mind as she tried to move, but to find she was unable to. She heard this sound many times before, like someone was dragging clothes across the ground. But yet, as her mind raced, it was closer than the other times. Panic started to set in as Anna watched her doorknob twist from side to side. She wanted to scream out, but even her voice was lost to her. Anna. A deep, dark voice called from the other side of the door as the dragging stopped. Anna wanted to run and hide, knowing there was no true escape as her door started to swing open. The black figure stood in the doorway, just grinning, showing a row of large, sharp teeth. It was then that Anna knew she was doomed as the figure rushed towards her, growling. But just as the figure closed in, Anna shocked up in the back seat of her car, as her parents looked both worried. "Anna, are you okay, honey?" her mother asked, knowing the question that her daughter would tell her the moment she said anything. "I'm fine, Mom." Anna knew better than to tell them the truth of what she had been dreaming for about a year now. Both of her parents exchanged looks of fear with each other. They knew she was acting differently. They missed the old Anna, the fun, loving, carefree girl they once knew. "Anna, we know you haven't been well, sweetheart, but we wish you would let us in," her father finally said after some thought. Anna, almost annoyed, hated when her parents tried to step into her issues. Her mother wasn't so bad. She would back down, but her father was a different story. "Dad, please don't start." Taken back, her father almost let Anna have it, but then gave up when his wife stopped him. For the rest of the car ride, it was quiet. Not one person seemed to speak or even want to look up at each other. Anna knew she'd be crazy to tell them about her dreams, knowing her parents may think she'd gone crazy, or blame them on the fact that her father was moving to a new state again for a stupid job offer. Later into the afternoon, Anna watched as they passed the Welcome to Grace Valley sign. At first it seemed like a small town where she could tell there was nothing to do. All the buildings had that old-time feel, and even the people walking around looked like something out of a history book. "Well, here we are," her father said, almost proud of their new home. Anna rolled her eyes as they turned down a main street, noticing more old shops and what looked like the police station. "So what do you guys think?" her father asked with excitement. Her mother seemed taken back, but overall happy with the place. Anna was the only one who hated the whole thing, knowing not to get comfortable. After all, her dad had a habit of not staying put. Turning left off the main street, the GPS showed they had to travel down the lone road. Not one building or shop, just all around them was trees and forest. The drive made Anna uneasy. No people, just woodlands all around them for miles. "Dad, how far out is this house?" Anna asked, hoping it wasn't far. Looking at the GPS, her dad took his time. "Not far, Anna. Why?" Anna just shook her head. "Just ready to get out of the car. Long drive." That was a lie, of course. She was not ready to tell the truth to her parents. Rounding one more street, Anna noticed a large house in the distance. She could tell no features of the house, but something was already off about it. Finally pulling up to the house, her parents opened the car door and stepped out looking at their new home. Anna finally joined them after some minutes. "Well, honey, welcome to your new home." Anna almost stepped back as fear hit her. The house was the same exact house in her dreams. "Anna, what's wrong?" She quickly started to get a hold of herself, knowing that this would make her parents question more. Nothing, just expected more from it. Stepping forwards again, looking closely at the house for the first time since they arrived. "Anna, how about you go ahead inside while we start unpacking the car?" her father said, tossing the keys to the house. Heading towards the house, Anna slowly started up the stairs again. That same fear washed over her. Shaking, she reached up to the door with the key, not sure she even wanted to open it in the first place. But swallowing the fear, she inserted the key, and the door slowly pushed open. She peeked inside from the small opening and tried to see what she was about ready to walk into. Entering the house, she stood in an entryway, noticing the stairs going up. Then looking to her left, a living area, and finally to her right, a dining and kitchen area. From the first looks, it had an old-style feel with a bit of a new remodel done to it. Walking to the stairs, she decided to see the rest of the house, trying to push back the fear once again. Anna, almost falling back, she quickly turned to see her mother, who had just put some boxes down. "Didn't mean to scare you. I was gonna ask if you could take these boxes where they belong upstairs, since you were going up anyway." "Sure, Mom," Anna answered, grabbing 2 boxes placed at the foot of the steps. Heading up, she waited until she got into the hallway, and looked at the first box labeled Main Bathroom. Placing both boxes down on the floor, she started to explore the rooms. After a few minutes, Anna found a small bathroom towards the middle of the hall. Not the best looking room, but she could tell some of the stuff inside had been replaced. Grabbing the box, she placed it near the shower before stopping to look in the mirror. She looked at herself and almost couldn't believe her appearance. Fixing her hair, a weird feeling came over her, like there was something standing behind her, and a deep voice whispered near her ear. Jumping back, Anna screamed and rushed into the hallway. Heavy footsteps could be heard rushing up the stairs. "Anna, baby, what's wrong?" her father yelled as he hit the top step going into the hallway. Anna's wide eyes and breathing alone could tell that she was not fine. Anna, now hugging on his daughter, trying to comfort and calm her. After what seemed like forever, Anna started to act normally. "Dad?" Anna sat up from her father's arms. "What happened?" "I just backed into a wall in the bathroom and scared myself, Dad." Not sure it was really the truth, or not. Her father helped her up and took her downstairs again. Anna knew there was something more to his daughter screaming, but he didn't want to push the subject on her. "Honey, you just rest. Me and your mother will start unpacking." Anna didn't want to close her eyes. Maybe just being able to lay on the couch and read would make her feel better. Later into the evening, Anna awoke, looking at her phone. Barely 8 o'clock, and she could smell her mother's home cooking. Feeling a little bit better, she got up and looked out the window of the front room to see nothing but slow darkness covering the area around the house. From the kitchen, she could hear her father talking to someone on his phone. "Mom?" Anna called quietly, walking into the front entryway. "Anna, good, you're awake." her mom replied, coming down the stairs, smiling at her. Not sure what to think, Anna just smiled back. Finally following her mother into the dining room, she and her parents had a quiet dinner. It was odd, because normally there was so much more said between them. Even the cleanup was quiet after. Anna felt uneasy. Was something said while she was resting, and her parents didn't want to talk to her about it. Either way, she didn't know how to feel about the whole thing. "I'm going to unpack the boxes in my room, guys," she said as they both looked up from the dishes. "Okay, honey," her mother replied as Anna walked out of the kitchen and headed towards her room. Starting back up the steps, she could feel the fear building again, remembering what had happened earlier that day. But she was only glad when she got past the bathroom and into her room, which was the last door in the hallway. The unpacking kept her busy and her mind clear. It even helped her forget about the odd things happening since she entered the house. "Honey, we're going to bed," her father called from the other side of her door. "Okay, good night," she called back, finishing up the last box. Looking at her phone, 9:20. Not a surprise, really. Her parents had the same bedtime all her life. Turning her music on low, she got into her nightgown and got into her bed. She grabbed a book off the table. Anna shocked awake again. Her book had failed her as she looked at her phone. 12 o'clock. She looked around her room, almost remembering the dream and hoping it was only a dream, and even that she was just going crazy. But Anna started to feel the same fear again, as the sound of the bathroom door swung open from down the hall. Her mind started to race as Anna started to tell herself to wake up. Then, like clockwork, a long dragging sound started to make its way into the hallway. Anna jumped back into her wall, almost falling out of her bed, as she grabbed on tight to her covers. Wake up, she told herself as the sound was getting louder and closer to her room. Just a dream. Anna was shocked now as the fear controlled her. The light from her lamp would fade in and out. The room started to become bitterly cold. Anna's mind started to panic as a sound closed in on the other side of her door. "Anna!" A dark voice called out. "Leave me alone!" Anna cried as the light started to fade. It was then that Anna felt her heart race as a dark figure appeared from the shadow in the corner of her room. Anna screamed as it laughed and jumped at her feet. Anna kicked and fought as the figure pulled her closer and closer. From outside the door, her father tried turning the knob, but no luck. It was shut tight. "Anna!" he screamed now, ramming the door with his whole body to just get it open. Panic filled his chest as the screaming stopped suddenly, and a quiet hush came over the house. Her mother, who was now standing in the hallway, crying, looked at her husband, who now looked at the door. "Anna?" he called, now able to open the door with no problem. Looking into the dark room, he was almost fearful of what he would find. With his flashlight from his phone, he entered the room looking for the lamp or even the main room light. Slipping a bit towards the middle of the room, he felt around the floor, feeling a wet liquid. Soon he found the lamp that had fallen off the table near the bed. As the light snapped on, his mind was not ready for the image he saw. Anna's bed was bloody and torn, as embedded human nails were stuck in the post. On the floor, at the end, near the bed, 2 drag marks could be seen. One looked like it belonged to an animal, and the other was made again by human bloody nails. Was going along the room leading towards the corner. "Honey, don't come in here," he called to his wife as he dialed the police. He wanted to wake up from this nightmare and find Anna sleeping in her bed. Within the hour, they had a house full of police. All the questions being asked was almost tiring and even hard to answer. "Just one question," said the police officer. "Did anyone tell you the truth about this house?" But both of them looked confused before answering. "Well, no." The police looked worried, knowing it would be hard to explain the horror that had happened here. "Well, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but this house has never had people live in it very long. In fact, the longest someone lived here was a week." "Is something bad here?" Anna's mother asked, worried. It was worse than she was thinking. "Well, the family that was here for a week, their son died in that same room." Her father looked shocked by the news. "How did he die?" The officer shook his head before he spoke. "I can't go into detail, but it was the same MO as your daughter. Only difference about it." Before he could finish, "Hey, you may want to come upstairs. We found something," a cop from the top of the stairs yelled. Rushing up as they followed the cop, once in Anna's room, horror took the two as their daughter's nightgown laid in the corner, bloody and torn. But the worst of it all was a message on the wall: "Don't follow into the shadows."